changing the chapter. Chapter 20, Canto 4, Chapter 24. Text number 27. 4, 24, 27. So I'll just read. Huh? Is it on the screen? 4, 24, 27. That's not it. Is that it? Yes, okay. Shri Rudra Uvacha Yuyam Vedishada Putra Viditam Vashchikir Shitam Anugrahaya Bhadram Bha Evam Me Darshanam Kritam Yuyam Vedishada Putra Viditam Vashchikir Shitam Anugrahaya Bhadram Bha Evam Me Darshanam Kritam. Lord Shiva said, "You are all the sons of King Prachinibari, and I wish all good fortune to you. I also know what you are going to do, and therefore I am visible to you just to show my mercy upon you." Purport by Srila Prabhupada. By these words, Lord Shiva indicates that what the princes were going to do was known to him. It is a fact that they were going to worship Lord Vishnu by severe austerities and penances. Knowing this fact, Lord Shiva immediately became very pleased, as apparent by the next verse. This indicates that a person who is not yet a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but who desires to serve the Supreme Lord, receives the benedictions of the demigods, headed by the chief demigod, Lord Shiva. Thus, a devotee of the Lord does not need to try to please the demigods separately. Simply by worshipping the Supreme Lord, a devotee can please all of them. Nor does he have to ask the demigods for material benedictions, for the demigods, being pleased with the devotee, automatically offer him everything that he needs. The demigods are servants of the Lord, and they are always prepared to help a devotee in all circumstances. Therefore, Srila Bilvamangala Thakur said that if one has unalloyed devotion for the Supreme Lord, the goddess of liberation is ready to serve him, to say nothing of the gods of material opulences. Indeed, all the demigods are simply waiting for an opportunity to serve the devotee. Thus, there is no need for a devotee of Krishna to endeavor for material opulences or liberation by being situated in the transcendental position of devotional service. He receives all the benefits of Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. And I'm going to go on to text 28. Translation, Lord Shiva continued. Any person who is surrendered to the Supreme Personality Godhead Krishna, the controller of everything, material nature as well as the living entity is actually very dear to me. Purport. Now, Lord Shiva explains the reason he has personally come before the princes. It is because all the princes are devotees of Lord Krishna. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 7:19, Bahunam janmanam ante gyanavan mam prapadyate Vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sadurlabha. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. Lord Shiva is rarely seen by common men, and similarly, a person who is fully surrendered unto Vasudeva Krishna is also very rarely seen, because a person who is fully surrendered unto the Supreme Lord is very rare. Samahatma Sadurlabha. Consequently, Lord Shiva came especially to see the Prachetas because they were fully surrendered unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. Vasudeva is also mentioned in the beginning of the Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, in the mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Since Vasudeva is the ultimate truth, Lord Shiva openly proclaims that one who is a devotee of Lord Vasudeva, who is surrendered to Lord Krishna, is actually very dear to him. Lord Vasudeva, Krishna, is worshipable not only by ordinary living entities, but by demigods like Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, and others. Yam Brahma, Varunendra, Rudra, Maruta, Stu Vanti, Diya, Stabai. Bhagavatam 12:13-1. Krishna is worshipped by Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Varuna, Indra, Chandra, and all other demigods. This is also the situation with a devotee. Indeed, one who takes to Krishna consciousness immediately becomes very dear to anyone who is simply finding out and beginning to understand what Krishna consciousness actually is. Similarly, all the demigods are also trying to find out one who is actually surrendered to Lord Vasudeva, because the Pracheta princes were surrendered to Vasudeva. Lord Shiva willingly came forth to see them. Lord Vasudeva, or Krishna, is described in Bhagavad Gita as Purusha, Purushottama. Actually, he is the enjoyer, or Purusha, and the supreme Uttama as well. He is the enjoyer of everything, the Prakriti and the Purusha, being influenced by the three modes of material nature. The living entity tries to dominate material nature, but actually he is not the Purusha, or enjoyer, but Prakriti, as described in Bhagavad Gita 7:5. Aparayami tastvanyam prakritim vidime param. Thus, the jiva, or living entity, is actually Prakriti, or the marginal energy of the Supreme Lord. Being associated with material energy, he tries to lord it over the material nature. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 15:7. Mamevangsa jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatanaha manakshastani indriyani prakritistani karshati. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. By endeavoring to dominate material nature, the living entity simply struggles hard for existence. Indeed, he struggles so hard to enjoy himself that he cannot even enjoy the material resources. Thus, He is sometimes called Prakriti or Jiva, for he is situated in the marginal potency. When the living entity is covered with the three modes of material nature, he is called Jiva Sangita. There are two kinds of living entities. One is called Kshara, and the other is called Akshara. Kshara refers to those who have fallen down and become conditioned, and Akshara refers to those who are not conditioned. The vast majority of living entities live in the spiritual world and are called Akshara. They are in the position of Brahman, pure spiritual existence. They are different from those who have become conditioned by the three modes of material nature. Two more paragraphs. It's a long purport. Being above both the Kshara and Akshara, Lord Krishna Vasudeva is described in the Bhagavad Gita 15:18 as Purushottama. The impersonalists may say that Vasudeva is the impersonal Brahman, but actually the impersonal Brahman is subordinate to Krishna, as also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 14:27, Brahmano hi pratishtaham. That Krishna is the source of impersonal Brahman is also confirmed in Brahma Samhita 5:40. Yasya prabha prabhavato jagadandakoti. The impersonal Brahman is nothing but the effulgence or bodily rays of Krishna, and those bodily rays, in those bodily rays, there are innumerable universes floating. Thus, in all respects, Vasudeva Krishna is the Supreme Lord, and Lord Shiva is very satisfied with those who are completely surrendered to him. Complete surrender is desired by Krishna, as he indicates in the last chapter of Bhagavad Gita 1866, Sarvadharmam parityaja mamikam sharanam vraja. And the final paragraph. The word sakshat, meaning directly, is very significant. There are many so-called devotees, but actually they are only karmis and gyanis, for they are not directly devotees of Lord Krishna. The karmis sometimes offer the results of their activities to Lord Vasudeva, and this offering is called karmarpanam. These are considered to be fruitive activities, for the karmis consider Lord Vishnu to be one of the demigods like Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma. Because they consider Lord Vishnu to be on the same level with the demigods, they contend that surrendering to the demigods is as good as surrendering unto Vasudeva. This contention is denied herein because if it were true, Lord Shiva would have said that surrendering unto him, Lord Vasudeva, Vishnu, or Brahma is the same. However, Lord Shiva does not say this because he himself surrenders unto Vasudeva, and whoever else surrenders unto Vasudeva is very, very dear to him. This is expressed herein openly. The conclusion is that a devotee of Lord Shiva is not dear to Lord Shiva, but a devotee of Lord Krishna is very dear to Lord Shiva. So I decided to read from this section in the morning classes because Sunday is Shivaratri, and it's nice to prepare for Shivaratri by thinking about and trying to understand, especially from Srimad Bhagavatam, some of the truths about Lord Shiva, or Shiva Tattva. In the upcoming verses, it goes deeper and deeper. And I've been spending a little bit of time preparing for Shivaratri, and the subject matter is vast, complicated, and not easy to understand. It's said in the line of Gaudiya Vaishnavas, there are two topics that are particularly difficult. One of them is Shiva Tattva and the other is Guru Tattva. They're not easy to understand. And for sure, Shiva Tattva is not easy to understand, but Prabhupada has made it, at least his Bhaktivedanta purports here in the Bhagavatam for introduction has made it quite simple. And the simple that he's presented here is that Lord Shiva is a worshipper of Vasudeva, or Krishna. So we're going to hear the upcoming verses. Lord Shiva is going to speak about the Chatur Vyuha features one by one. Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradumna, and Aniruddha, and the functions of each one. And the Chatur Vyuha personalities, or expansions of the original personality, they're we'll get there, I guess, tomorrow, starting tomorrow. They're in the category of angsa. Angsa, in Prabhupada's translation of angsa, means they're plenary portions, as opposed to the Vishnu forms that are kala, angsa and kala. Kala, Prabhupada's language in English, is a portion of a plenary portion. The Vishnu forms that deal with the material creation, they're expansions of Sankarshan, who is a plenary portion. They're portions of a plenary portion. So we're going to hear from Lord Shiva about the plenary portions, one by one. And he's teaching all of this. Let's go back to these two purports. He's teaching all of this because he understands. Now, how does he understand? He's not super soul, but he has powers invested in him by super soul or by the Supreme Lord to understand what ordinary people can't understand. So he understands who is their father, and he states it. He understands their purpose, which is to undergo austerities in order to fulfill the instruction of their father, to assist him in creating, in the Prajapati program, creating good offspring, to assist Lord Brahma in populating the world for his creation, not just the earth planet, but the material creation with varieties of living entities and species and so forth. So that's the service, but they're not just going to run off and do the service. The previous verses describe their plan was to do, as it says here in the purport, severe austerities and penances. Specifically, in Satya Yuga, the process of spiritual perfection is dhyan. So they're going to do dhyan, meditation, within a lake, and in other words, underwater. And as they're about to enter the lake, Lord Shiva and his entourage come out of the lake, and he addresses them, starting with these verses we just read. The song of Lord Shiva is called in the Bhagavatam. Now, he's speaking to Prajetas, but he's speaking about the personality of Godhead. He's speaking about the personality of Godhead to the Prajetas because he understands they're great devotees. And the conclusion of the verse, or the purport, is So the conclusion, the summary, one who holds themselves dear to Lord Shiva is not as dear to Lord Shiva as one who holds themselves dear to Lord Vishnu or Lord Vasudeva. That person is especially dear to Lord Shiva. And there are persons who are dear to Lord Shiva because they're worshippers of Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva gives them benedictions and does things like that. However, generally speaking, those who seek benediction from Lord Shiva seek something on the material side. And there are those that seek something on the spiritual side. But he can deliver either the material or the spiritual side only because he's Shiva Tattva. He's in a special category that's invested by the personality of Godhead to distribute benedictions. So he derives his power from the personality of Godhead. And unlike demigods that sometimes get a little bewildered, Lord Shiva doesn't get bewildered. He is very clear. He is a servant of the personality of Godhead. Then it gets a little interesting, where Lord Shiva, looking up to the personality of Godhead, and he's so dear to the personality of Godhead likes to honor Lord Shiva. And so one of the ways he likes to honor Lord Shiva, as the personality of Godhead will do sometimes, is he places that person who is his devotee, looking up to him, he likes to have that person above him. Because he likes. I mean, Lord Shiva has special favor upon, this is the flip side of the same coin. He has special favor upon those who are very devoted to Lord Vasudeva. And Lord Vasudeva holds very dear those who are particularly devoted to his devotee. And Lord Shiva is a great devotee, or the best of devotees, from the Bhagavatam's perspective. Vaishnavanam yata Shambhu. So Lord Vasudeva likes to honor Lord Shiva, so that people will honor Lord Shiva, and that pleases him very much. There's a very nice passage in relation to the Rajasuya Yagya. Later in the 10th canto, Maharaj Yudhisthira is planning the Rajasuya Yagya. Rajasuya, it's a Yagya means sacrifice to Vishnu, and Raja Suya means it's the king of sacrifices unto Vishnu. In that sacrifice unto Vishnu, demigods are invoked, and they're propitiated through mantra and oblations into the fire and so forth. Now, so the question, our acharyas addressed this question. Why is Yudhisthira, who is an unalloyed devotee of Krishna, worshipping demigods? And the answer that is given is two things. He's worshipping demigods not just because it's a prescribed duty, but what's the purpose of that prescribed duty for one who's doing Rajasuya Yagya? It's to, because the bhokta of such yagyas is Vishnu. And he wants the demigods, to observe the position as he is observing, that Vishnu is the bhokta, he's the supreme. And whatever may be offered to them is meant, this is the other part, is meant for Lord Vishnu. Now, there are persons that don't understand like that. Their mantras in yagyas are there for worshipping the personality of Godhead, Vishnu, as the bhokta of the yagya. But then some persons take it so he's one of many. He put him in a nice position, but we're offering sacrifices to others and offering sacrifices to others to invoke auspiciousness to get benedictions, for auspiciousness, benedictions for this yajna. But Maharaj Yudhisthira is not interested, or say it the other way, he is interested in letting the world know that these demigods are servants of Lord Vishnu. And he wants the demigods to know they are subordinate to Lord Vishnu. And not that they don't know, but his consciousness, that you can say the intention behind the yajna, the sankalpa of the yajna, is Vishnu is worshipped, including the demigods. Whatever offerings are offered to them, it's meant for Vishnu. It's not meant for them. Something for Vishnu and something for the demigods. No. He's the bhokta, and whatever is offered to the demigods, they in turn are to offer to Vishnu, because they're also devotees, and that's the consciousness of a Vaishnava. But not everyone has that understanding, that do yajnas and propitiate devas. Just a little anecdotal story. One of the places in the past I would often visit is Murfreesboro, Tennessee, because there's a nice devotee there, Nitai Gaur Sundar, and his wife Matsya, and their two wonderful kids. And it was just because I was driving, before flying, I just had a van and traveled around in a van. So it was one of the places I stopped. And he made the request, can you, on a Sunday morning, go to Nashville? There's a Hindu temple in Nashville, and they want to do a yajna. And the people that were cultivating there, they would like, us to come also. So I wasn't thrilled to go to a Hindu temple and participate in a yajna, but it was, it was an act of reciprocation with a request made of me by Nitai Gaur Sundar. So we went, and much to my surprise, the priest at the Hindu temple was a grihastha from Udupi. He's a Madhva initiate. Now, is Madhva unclear about the position of Krishna or Vishnu or the supremacy of the personality of Godhead? Not at all. Not at all. And we went, there were some niceties and cordialities, and then the priest began the yajna. The altar is filled with demigods. And he, at the beginning, he did what you're supposed to do. I was listening to the mantras, and, the bhokta of the yajna was uttered first. I don't remember the mantra, but I remember that was very clearly what he was doing, and then he did all the rest, because somebody wanted something. So that the nature of karmakanda rituals is, there's the bhokta, even of the karmakanda rituals, and then various devas and devis, etc., and mantras to invoke whatever it is that the person wants, and that's what the mantras are decided based upon what they want. And so he knew all the mantras, and he did the whole thing. And I walked out. I couldn't take it. And I asked him later, how can you do this? You're from Udupi. You definitely know the difference between this and that. And he didn't feel confronted. I was just like, how can you do this? And he said, it's my living. He just whitewashed it over with, I'm a grihastha and I have responsibilities, and so I've accepted this post as the priest of the Hindu temple, doing yajnas, propitiating devas. Now, why are they there in the Vedas to begin with? Because there's varieties, but at least in two main categories. Some people want stuff, just like in the Bhagavatam, second canto. One who wants this worships this deva, one who wants that worships that deva, one who wants the other thing worships this devi. It's there because karma kanda is in the Vedas because people want stuff and they're not so inclined to see that all things that the devas and devis can give come from Vishnu anyway, so just worship Vishnu. But, they don't have that faith. They have some other faith. Okay, he's the bhakta, but I want this, so I'm worshiping this deva or that devi. That's the mentality, karma kanda mentality. So it's the desire tree of the Vedas, the kalpa vriksha of the Vedas, and they bestow all things. And the purpose is also to see that my needs or my wants can be met by approaching the higher authority of the Vedas, and through the higher authority of the Vedas, my wants and needs are met. But then as one becomes, at least notionally, as one becomes elevated in piety, then the question comes, here at the beginning of this ritual and all the other ones, there's the bhakta of the yajna, so why not worship Vishnu? It's meant for that gradual elevation for persons who are, stuck in I want, and I don't want Vishnu. I want what I want. So it's acknowledgement of the authority of the Vedas, submission, so increasing one's piety, and even unknowingly accepting Lord Vishnu as the bhakta of the yajna. And if he's the bhakta of the yajna, he is the one that's actually distributing what's being distributed. So same with Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva gives benedictions, but where does he get the power to give his benedictions? From Lord Vishnu. There's other things to say, but that's one of the main points that's in these two purports. Living entities are in the category of Prakriti. They're Jiva Tattva. And Lord Vasudeva, or the personality of God, it is in a different tattva, Vishnu tattva. And then Lord Shiva is in yet a third tattva, Shiva tattva. So he's, in one stroke, spoken of in this purport as a demigod, but demigod in the sense that he's deriving his power to distribute whatever he distributes from Lord Vishnu. And he knows that. He doesn't become overwhelmed with pride, thinking I'm the source. He knows he's a worshipper of Lord Vishnu in the great devotee. So he's honored. And in this case, in these verses, this section of the Bhagavatam, he's giving instructions about Vishnu specifically because he knows the position of Lord Vishnu or Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and he's happy to give this understanding to those who have some appreciation or devotion for Lord Vasudeva. So it's a fit mix. Those who are worshippers of Vasudeva and Lord Shiva who knows all about Vasudeva. So he's going to give the song of Lord Shiva is singing about Lord Vasudeva and the other members of the Chaturvyuha whom he worships. And, the idea is as they're underwater doing their meditation, they can simply meditate on these same mantras. Meaning, it's Satya Yuga, and therefore their memory is not the same as Kali Yuga memories. Just by hearing, they will be able to recite these prayers. The prayers are honoring Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. As does he, Lord Shiva. These are his prayers. He is glorifications of the personality of Godhead. So let's see if there's some discussion in anticipation of Shivaratri. Yes?
Maharaj. So, as you said, Lord Shiva gets all the power from Lord Vishnu. So, as being a devotee of Lord Vishnu, Ravana is praying to Lord Shiva for benediction, and those benediction he used against Lord Vishnu. So,
I'm listening.
So how Lord Shiva give those benediction to Ravana, knowing his
It's
intention?
not only Ravana. There's many.
Yeah.
The question you're raising is answered elaborately in Brihat Bhagavatamrita. So if you like, you can read this section. But Narada is gone to Lord Shiva in search of the greatest recipient of the mercy of the Lord. And when he was sent there by Brahma, who is the father of Lord Shiva, but greater than me is Lord Shiva. So in that section, and particularly in the purports, but the benedictions that Lord Shiva gives to those who are demoniac are clever. They don't go all the way. Because the persons who are not Vaishnavas have desires that are non-Vaishnava-like. And when he gives benedictions to them, it's not to be against Lord Vasudeva or Lord Vishnu. It's a trick. You read the section. He tricks them. He gives them, but not in such a way so there's something limited and temporary that they may be able to do, but not. They certainly can't destroy. And it provides. For example, with Ravana, it provides Ram an opportunity to have pastimes. Now, from another angle, it's demoniac. What he did with the power he received, because he's a demon. So why does Lord Shiva give benedictions to demons? Because they'll misuse it. The benedictions are given to demons. At least, the list that's just described there, and in principle, is he is merciful, and he doesn't give something that's going to directly harm the personality of God, because you can't harm the personality of God anyways. But it would go against his devotion to do that. So he gives tricky benedictions. Clever. You have something. I'm done.
I have two questions. One is there is a goddess of liberation quoted in Srila Prabhupada's purport. I don't know much about goddess of liberation. Can you speak more about
Lakshmi this is Bilvamangala Thakur.
Yes.
Lakshmi, this Bilvamangala Thakur writes, I have no desire for liberation. She's at my doorstep with palms folded, ready to serve me. The reference there is Lakshmi.
Okay. Thank you, Maharaj. I have a second question.
Yes.
The second question is that in the second purport, Prabhupada is referring Akshara, people who are in spiritual consciousness. Most of the living entities in the spiritual world are Akshara, and they are in Brahman situation. To my understanding, even in the spiritual world, is the spiritual world they're referring as Vaikuntha or the heavenly planets?
Vaikuntha.
Okay.
The spiritual world is Vaikuntha.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. I think there was a pastime I heard from Sri Ramanujacharya.
From where? Ramanujacharya?
Yeah, I heard it from, I think, from your digest emails. There was an email, I think I
Go
read.
ahead.
So Ramanujacharya, I think he was going somewhere and he did not go inside the Lord Shiva's temple. And he sat outside only. So that was a devotee's question, why did Sri Ramanujacharya did that? And if I remember, you answered, he married to only one wife. So he's very chaste to his wife. He did not want to take another wife or something like that, I remember. So how
You
do
better
we-
send me this reference because it doesn't sound right. Send me the reference you're asking about, and then I can respond.
Yeah, my basic question is, how do we understand, like those acharyas, they know Lord's position and Lord Shiva and everything. So are we not supposed to go inside Lord Shiva's temples and be in the mood of a Vaishnava? Or
Well, your question is the answer to this question. You say was in the letter or the document or something I sent out.
Mhm.
So send me that, and we'll speak about it tomorrow morning.
Thank you.
You can try to find it. You know where to find it?
Yeah, I'll search.
Okay, you've sent
I'll
it to me
search in my emails. Maybe
Okay,
I'll try
fine,
to find.
fine.
And one more question.
One more.
Plenary portion, is it in full potency or is it partial?
Well, let's do this. How many qualities does Krishna have?
64.
64. And those who are his expansions don't have 4 of those 64. So those that have all but 4, they're also called plenary in the sense that it's full. And the forms of the kala have a lesser portion than those who are the plenary. So the answer to your question is almost full. They have the opulences of Bhagavan in fullness. But there's 4 qualities they don't have. So it's not exactly potency, but it's, qualities. Does that answer your question? Okay.
Maharaj, did Prachetas actually prayed for Lord Shiva to appear, or just Lord Shiva appeared
He just came out of the water. They were surprised. They weren't praying for him. He just emerged from the water.
Okay. And one more question. It is said that Lord Shiva is very pleased by the Prachetas, their cooperation and their devotion to
That
Lord
comes at the end,
Vasudeva. And similarly, Lord Vasudeva is also pleased when he sees that a jiva is devoted to his devotee, like Lord Shiva, for example.
For example.
But what's the so in the case of Prachetas, Lord Shiva gave them the mantras to achieve Lord Vishnu. But in the case of devotees of Lord Shiva, do they get the higher destination?
It depends. There's multiple. It's complex. There's multiple destinations. And it's very diverse, destination-wise.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. So, if a devotee praise the demigods for the service of Supreme Personality of Godhead, does demigod has that capability to give that benediction?
Well, yes and no. Yes, they're because they are devotees, they can give devotion. That is to say, indirectly. The yes is indirectly. Indirectly, they can make things favorable for devotional service. However, not directly, they themselves are not givers of bhakti, but they're the givers of resources that can be used in devotion to the personality of Godhead. Now, let me contemplate for a moment about. You see, here in this case, this is Lord Shiva is a demigod. He's being referred to here as a demigod. He's a great devotee, but he's in the category, as the description is going, as a demigod. And they are already devotees of Lord Vasudeva. So he can certainly give the nourishment of that bhakti that they have, and it works. Generally, however, generally, this is in principle, this is the no part. Generally, receiving bhakti comes from one directly who has bhakti, and then it's a direct, one-to-one experience. Generally. It's a nice question. Do the demigods have the capacity as demigods to give bhakti and stir devotional desires to serve Krishna? Do they have the power, the capacity to do that? In principle, yes. But generally speaking, that's not what they do. They give resources that can be used. But the seed of bhakti comes from others, not directly from the demigods. That's the best I can do with that question. Anything else?
So, if someone is asking a material benefit to a demigod, that is not bhakti, right? Is that bhakti or is it?
You know the answer.
It's not, but if the same thing for Supreme Personality of Godhead, someone is asking a material benefit, not the service of the Lord.
It's not bhakti.
It's not.
You one more?
There is a quote that Krishna says, devotees who serve the devotees are dear to me. So in that context, how to understand that, the demigod situation? Because they are all devotees of the Supreme Lord.
But they're not being seen in that way. Step back. And the big picture is we're all devotees of the Supreme Lord. All living entities, eternally, not just demigods. That answer your question?
Yes, Maharaj. So it's serving them.
It's the consciousness. The consciousness is not seeing them as representatives of the Supreme Lord. The consciousness is, I want and here they're dispensers of white. They have a big warehouse, and they have stuff in their warehouse that I want.
Okay, Maharaj, it's just our
So,
consciousness.
the karma kanda has a range, and there's the higher end, and there's the middle range, and there's the lower end. But the purpose in approaching demigods is not, what your question is indicating. You want to go at it again? You're holding the microphone like you want to say something further on this.
So my what you're saying, or my understanding, just want to clarify my understanding. So in a big picture, they are all, our consciousness should be that they are the devotees of the Lord. In that consciousness, if you worship, then it should be okay.
No.
Okay.
You're a devotee of the Lord. Let's say, the man in the street is Mamevangsa Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanat. All living entities are Krishna's eternal parts and parcels, and by nature, by constitution, at the soul level, they're Krishna's eternal servants. So whether it's a demigod or dog or man or something, worshipping them isn't worshipping God. That's impersonal. So when someone who's dear to Krishna is one who's carrying bhakti in their heart, is awakened state of bhakti, and Krishna accepts that. And then is proportionate to.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay. Srila Prabhupada.